Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Organic Sanskrit Series 1. How is everyone doing? I want to see ones or twos in the chat, please. Any problems? Any bad weather? Any crises? How's everything going? I see mostly ones. That's good. So, do we have any questions so far about what we've done and what we're going to do? Open your mics and talk to me if you do have a question. Okay.
We were wondering about Sandy, but that's what we are going to learn, right?
Oh, you are going to learn so much about Sunday. Yes. In Organic Sanskrit 1, we are just introducing the topic. But personally, I think Sandhi is one of the main keys to learning Sanskrit properly. And as you know, it is a series of rules that govern what we write or what we see when we translate based on how the language sounds to a Sanskrit speaker. So we have learned a little bit, and we will learn a lot more. Any other thoughts or questions? I hope, is everyone doing coffee meditation about spreading the Dharma by studying Sanskrit? Can I see any ones in the chat? Maybe I won't see any. Don't lie. It's okay if you don't. I just want to encourage you. Even 10 seconds, and Marina knows about rejoicing. 10 seconds will help. Just be happy you're doing it. Okay, may I have the first slide, please? After the title and after the greeting. Yes. So let's recite the vowel song. Open your mics and recite with me, please. I, u, ler, e, I, yeah, good. That's a nice. Okay, so now let's recite the consonants. We will recite the first varga, 5 letters in the main group. Ka, ka, g, g, r. Remember, that's guttural, and you put your tongue way back in your throat. Second varga is palatal. The tongue goes on that little bump at the back of the roof of your mouth. And we will recite cha, cha, ja, ja. Good. Third varga, cerebral. So we put our tongues, tip of our tongues, straight up against the roof of our mouth. So let's recite. Ta, ta, da, da, na. Fourth varga is dental, a lot like most English and many Western languages. And the tip of your tongue goes behind your front teeth on that little bump that's there. So let's recite. Ta, ta, da, na. Great. And the fifth varga, labial. Your tongue doesn't do too much, but your lips come together like you're going to kiss someone. So let's recite. Pa, 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 And you notice I made you do this without looking at anything, because ideally, I would prefer that you memorize these consonants and in the order in which they're recited. And then last time we had the 8 extra consonants. And let's recite those. These are the semi-vowels. Sometimes I call them semi-consonants. They're both correct. And those are, I'm going to ask Ming. Ming, what are the 4 semi-vowels?
Ya, ra, la, va.
Exactly.
Being prepared.
I know he likes that little American idiom. So let us recite the 4 semi-vowels together. Okay? Ya, ra, la, va. Ya, ra, la, va. Flavia, would you say the second one for us?
Ra.
Ra. Good. Nice trilled R. Ra. Okay, so those are the semi-vowels. And we have 4 more, and those are the 3 sibilants and the orphan letter H. So the H is guttural, and the last S is dental. There is no labial sibilant. So let's recite those, starting with the dental. Actually, we should start with the guttural first, Varga. Let's start with the guttural. Put your tongue way back in your throat and say, ha. Good. Ha. Now palatal, shra. Cerebral, shra. And dental, sa. It's just like an English S. Great. Okay. What does it mean? Say that again.
No, nothing, sorry.
Oh, okay. Good. All right, next slide, please. All right, who can tell me what this says? And I think you know most of these letters. Sound it out like you were learning your native language in kindergarten when you were 5 years old. See if you can recognize any of those letters.
Maybe like that one.
What?
I don't know.
Don't know. Okay. Fair enough. It's a long word. This word says Devanagari. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. Devana, 2 beats, gari. It's a really beautiful word, and it really sounds like a song when you say it properly, because the A, as we know, the day, that A is long, 2 beats. The second vowel is a, short, no markers. The third vowel is long has a mark. The fourth vowel is short, and the last vowel is E, long. So we have a nice alternate long, short, long, short, long. So that word properly said sounds like Devanagari. Everybody say it with me. Good. It's like a song. Devanagari. I'm exaggerating, but you see the proper pronunciation. Okay, next slide. All right, here's a nice American English word, funky. It means unusual or odd or a little bit unexpected. So the way we write the Devanagari vowels is an art form. in and of itself. So the way we learned them is not necessarily the way they appear when they're written in a word. So remember the way we learn them. Next slide. Here they are in both Devanagari on the top line and Ayast on the second line. So there's the, look at the Devanagari when we say them. Say them with me. Say them with me. Come on. E, E, lir. One lir, because we never have a long lir. A, I, O, ow. Okay, so we practiced writing these in Devanagari, and wait, let me just change my slide view here. So we practiced writing these in Devanagari, and now we're not going to practice writing them again, is because you almost never see them written this way. This is because the only time you see one of these forms is if that vowel appears at the very beginning of a word. And because Sanskrit is usually written all together in one line without breaks, it usually means that the word beginning with a vowel, if it's written with one of these characters, is going to be the very first word in the line. So one of the examples of this, and you may have heard this, it begins every Buddhist sutra, and I should say sutra, because it's a long U. Every Buddhist sutra, and sutra is a verse or a teaching spoken by the Buddha himself. Every sutra starts with the words evam maya shrutam. That evam is the first word in the line, and it starts with that A marker. Okay. And so let's see, what else do I have here? Yeah, I think that's good. Let's go to the next line. A slide. Okay. So this says in Devanagari, evam maya shrutam. So look at the very first letter in the Devanagari. Do you recognize that letter in any letters below? What?
Is it A?
Yeah, it's the A. It's the fourth one there. And it appears first in the line. So it's one of the few occasions when you will see that character written in Sanskrit. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Hold on. Good. All right, next slide. Oh, that's that same one that I just showed you. That's the answer that I think that was Flavia gave. A. Next slide. All right, let's go back to the Devanagari of the word Devanagari. So how many long vowels do you see in this word? And you can look at the ayas, and that will tell you.
3.
Sorry?
3.
3. Which ones?
A.
A.
A, E.
E. Very good. So notice that we usually capitalize the word Devanagari when we write it in Roman or Ayast. Do you think there are capital letters in Sanskrit? What do you think?
I think yes.
You think? All right, I will tell you a secret. We looked at all the consonants already. Did you see any capitals and small letters in that list?
No.
No.
Oh my God.
So there are no capital letters in Sanskrit. There are capital letters, obviously, in Western languages. And I'm not sure about ideographic languages. I'm going to guess not. Is there anyone who speaks a native Asian language here who can tell us, are there capital letters in Asian languages? Maybe in the chat.
Sharon seemed like no.
Seems like no. Okay. All right, we'll research that for next time. All right. So in this word, Devanagari, don't look at the Ayast, look at the Devanagari and tell me, are there any letters that you recognize from your work in copying out those consonants? Let's recite the third varga together. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Yes, I think it's third. First. There, it's third, like in the middle. Yes. Yes, it's third varga, and this is aspirated. Yes.
I don't think we have an aspirated letter here. No.
Unaspirated.
If we unaspirated, yes.
Yes, it's felt like unaspirated.
Yes. The first letter in Devanagari is an unaspirated D. In which varga?
Third. No?
It was third varga, which is cerebral. The Ayast would have a dot underneath it. So there's no dot. Okay, I'll tell you. It's the fourth varga. Now, that's actually a good point you raise, because if you think about it, the third varga and the fourth varga pretty much have the same letters in them. And the only difference is one is cerebral with the tongue position up against the roof of your mouth, and the fourth varga has the tongue against the back of your front teeth. So the third varga is ta, ta, da, da, na, and the fourth is ta, ta, da, da, na. So the only difference is the tongue position. That's why it's so important to learn the mouth positions. Okay, now, when we just looked at evam maya shrutam, we saw that the very first word, evam, had its very first letter as A, and it was written in the way we learned so far to write it. Now, let's look at this word in Ayast, Devanagari. Do you see that letter A there? Look at
you can just figure out, like, second, yes, it can be, yeah.
Yes, it's the second letter. So it's not at the beginning of the word. So now look at the Devanagari of Devanagari. What's that second letter under the sutra? Is that an A?
I don't know.
No.
No. It's I think it's up on the sutra. Yes.
Right. This doesn't answer my question, but it answers what I'm going to ask next. The second letter there is V, like deva, right? But as you say, the A is written up above the sutra. And it is that little mark that is leaning to the left. And I usually call it a feather. Does not have a specific grammatical term, but it's the way we write A when it's not the first letter in a word. So you will get used to this. Okay, so it kind of displaces that character A that we wrote in Avon. It becomes reduced to this small mark on top of the sutra, leaning to the left. So I would say in almost every case I can think of, that's the way you're going to see the letter A. Now let's look at the other vowel in this word. We saw the A, we see the three U's, two short ones and one long one. So what is the remaining vowel that we haven't talked about yet in this word?
E.
It's
E. Exactly. And where is it? Where is it in the word?
Was it the last one?
It's the last one. Yes. And it's long or short?
Long.
Long. So let's look at the very end of the Devanagari there. We see two marks. One, I hope you will recognize from practicing writing it, is Flavia's expert letter, R. You see the R? Everyone see it? Who does not see it? Good. So that thing after it must be the E, correct? So what do you notice about how it's written? What does it look like? You see the R, and what's after it?
that usually like down one and up in sutra.
Exactly. Yes. It's a stroke downwards with I'm going to call this mark a hook. It's hooking itself back to the R. So that means it goes with the R. That means the R does not have the automatic sound that goes with everything unless we change it by writing a new vowel in. So here we wrote in the vowel E, long E. And that's what it looks like when you write it. A long E is a downstroke following its consonant with a hook back to its consonant. So for instance, if there were something after this word, Devanagari, in the line, we would know which consonant the E goes with because the hook connects it to its related consonant. Okay. So, Oh, I have it. I had the wrong slide. Very good. And let's see, anything else? Yeah. So notice the difference in these two marks. The first vowel in this word is A, and it looks more like a single stroke above the sutra. It's stuck right onto its consonant, and it's not really curved. It's curved a little when you handwrite it. The E is a very curved hook, not a feather, and it goes back to its related consonant. Okay. So that's the E of the long and short I sound, I, E. So what does a short I look like when it's written? Let's have the next slide, please. Nope, that's not it. Go back one. Nope. Nope, maybe I don't have it in here. Not that one, next one. Next one. Next one. Yes, that one. So what does, I have too many slides in here. What does a short I look like? Here's the word mate. It is one of the many Sanskrit words for mind. You may be more familiar with chitta, as in bodhicitta. Many words for mind in Sanskrit. This is one of them. And it happens to have how many vowels? Two, right? And are they long or short in the I asked? Short. I think I heard someone say short. This is a short I. So you remember the long E in Devanagari had a hook to the right, a downstroke with a hook to the right. This one has a downstroke to the left of the consonant with a hook to the left. So if you're going to see an I, it's going to look just like one of these two examples. And you will know whether it's short or long, because the short I is written to the left of the Devanagari consonant, and the long E is written to the right of the Devanagari consonant. And the hook goes, the hook connects to its consonant. So I don't know if I wish to commit myself. Does this hook go left or right? Just connected to the consonant. Okay. So please open your mics and say this word to me. And I'm not going to say it. And I want to hear the right I sound. Okay.
Mate.
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 Mate. Say again.
Mate.
Again.
Mate.
Yes, more people. Mate. Very good. So it's mate. And that's two beats. Mate. Two syllables, two beats. Great. All right, let's take a look at the next slide. So we can see them together here, and we can see that the E in Devanagari, after the R at the end of that word, has a downstroke and a hook going to the left that connects it to the R. So we know it's Ri. The second word there is mate, and it's an I, but a short I. So it has the downstroke in front of its consonant, going to, well, I'm going to say it's going to the left. So does that seem clear? Any questions? All right, well, let me make some comments. Like, this is organic Sanskrit. So we're not going to go through all of the vowels and how they're written in a systematic fashion. When they come up, we will notice them and we will talk about how they're written in Devanagari. So they just come up and we'll discuss them. We're not going to present them, all of them together. And I want to give you just a sense of how the vowels are treated. So they're not going to look like they're 16 standalone forms unless they're at the beginning of a word. And they're going to have different characteristics like these feathers and hooks and downstrokes that we have been talking about. So we did and e. And the other 12 vowels are individual works of art in their own sense, and we'll leave that for ongoing lessons. So right now, you should be able to read all the vowels and all the standalone vowels and all the consonants very well, very properly, especially in their I-ast transliteration. Okay, and you know how they all sound now and what the difference is between long and short vowels. So the short ones are held for 1 beat and the long ones for 2. So that means you know a lot of Sanskrit, and whenever you see an I-ast transliteration, you will know how to say it properly. You will know long and short vowels, and you will know the 5 mouth positions of whatever that I-ast consonant is. So congratulations. All right, let's see what the next slide is. Okay, I just said all that. Next slide. Okay, so the consonants are more stable. We just saw that you're probably not going to see those standalone vowels very often. You're going to see them written above and below the sutra in different organic ways. But the consonants frequently look like the forms we've been learning and practicing over the last few weeks. So what makes them a little bit changeable is the phenomenon of compound consonants. So in Sanskrit, like in many Western languages, you can have 2 or 3, sometimes in Sanskrit, even 4 consonants in one cluster with no vowels in between them. And compound consonants are written in unique shapes. In a Western language, you just write them in a string separately together. For instance, look at compound. That word, English word, has a compound consonant, M and P, and they're just written M and then P. But in Sanskrit, they're written differently. So it really is an art form as a language, and we will learn to interpret this art more and more every week. So we've already seen 2 of them. May I have the next slide? Yes. we learned the ksha and we learned the jnya. So on the left is ksha, and that is a combination, a compound consonant of the letter ka, which is the first letter in the list of consonants in Sanskrit, and the shra. Does anyone, what can one of you tell me about the shra? What kind of letter is it? Hiss. It's one of the S's. So it's one of the sibilants.
Is either cerebral or...
Ah, good. It is cerebral. And how did you know that? There's two possible right answers.
the dot underneath.
The dot underneath the sh in the I asked. The other possible right answer would be if you remembered from your practice in writing the consonants that one was the cerebral sibilant. But there it is. So you have a k, which is first varga, and a shra, which is third varga. And when they're written together with no vowel in between, it's written that way. So it doesn't really look like a ka or a shra, does it? No, it's a unique written form. And it's fairly frequent. So you should learn to recognize that ksha in Devanagari. And the second one is similar, not in the sound, but in the fact that it is a very unusual way of writing these combined sounds. So here we have jna. It's usually said jnya, and it's a combination of a j and a nr. What do you know about j and n? What varga? I'll tell you because you're not remembering. Second varga, palatal. J and n. And you will see this written very frequently also. So because it's hard to see the j and the n from this form, you need to memorize it. Okay. So we're going to have a breakout group now and practice writing the consonants again. Can we get the next slide, please? Here they are. And when you write them, the first strokes, if you can see it in this, I'm sorry, the graphic is not terrific, are labeled A, B, C, and those are the ones you will do first. So if you look at the first letter, you'll see that we have the downstroke is, I think, labeled and then 1 is that swirl on the left, 2 is the down swirl on the right. Oh no, 3 is the downstroke, and 4 is the sutra line. So you will see A's and B's in some of them, and just do the A's first and the 1s first. I don't actually see any. Oh yeah, there's A's in the second varga, 4th letter. All right. So take some time, get some paper and pencil, and we'll take 10 minutes and practice drawing these beautiful art forms that are the letters. Okay. And as you write them, try to remember how to say them and say them out loud, but only if you remember. Okay, Marina is going to put us in at least one breakout group now.
For 10 minutes.
Say again.
How long?
Oh, 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay.
10 minutes. Yes, thank you. Okay, Marina is telling me that everyone is back. So I'm interested to know, did you have enough time to do all 25 letters or not? Tell me in the chat. Yes for one, for yes, two for no. I would just like to hear so I know how much time to leave. Yes, Marina did. How about anyone else who tried this exercise? Enough time? Send me a 1. Not finished? 2. And that will help me to know how much time to allow in other classes. Good. Also, if you do finish, you can always start again or redo ones that you are finding challenging. Okay, so any questions as we start to wrap up here?
I have using a new word, funky question. Do you know, this is not an alphabet. This is a system to write sounds, right? Do you know how it was created? Like the logic behind?
No, it's back in the sands of time. It's very old, prehistoric. This Abugida system of writing was developed, between 1500 BC, maybe 2000 BC. And there are many other, not many, but maybe 10 other Abugidas or alphabets in which Sanskrit was written. So this is the one that came into modern times. So it was probably one of the latest to be developed, but it's very, very old.
Because it sounded like they were like thinking on the sounds of the consonants. So it's like, okay, let's put the consonants in and then add if you have to add some other sound like an E in Devanagari, something like that. So I would like to understand the logic so I can look at it some, yeah.
I don't think we can find a logic. Or like art. It is a very internally based vibrational language. And I think you made a good point. We learned earlier that the consonants stop the flow. So in a way, you are trying to capture in writing a flow of sound and then chop it up into objects, nouns, and verbs too that we make.
It's like the oh, it's like the oh is a continuum. It's like oh, but then you got it, and then you change it to e or o. But yeah, it sounds something like that. Yes. Trying to understand. Yeah, thank you.
Something like that, but honestly, I don't think there's an actual logic or systematic development to it. I think it probably arose more naturally, but I don't know. We'd have to talk to a linguist about that. So, okay, good. Well, thank you for coming to another Sanskrit class. Next week, we will cover the topic of M's and N's. And you know that Geshe Michael is always telling us about this. So, Flavia, we will learn the logic of the M's and N's. Grammar has some logic. So I wanted just to quickly remind you that ACI is having its spring event, The New Beginning, opening the door to the Diamond Way, starting in less than a week. And it's important for two reasons. It's always important for Geshe Michael's teachings, but this one is extra important because it introduces the Diamond Way, and Geshe Michael offered to teach us Diamond Way in 2026. But if you want to do that, you have to take all 4 ACI events this year, and April is the first one. So online registration is available, scholarships are available, please sign up. And if you know anyone who might be interested in taking Diamond Way from Geshe Michael, tell them about it, please. All right, thank you again. Look forward to seeing you next week. And coffee meditate, okay? 10 seconds, 10 seconds. See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.